the mic.
Get on the mic.
Just get on the mic. Get on the mic, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to Get on the Mic. That's where you get me in front of a microphone with a few notes, and I talk about some of the things that are going on in the entertainment world or just other things I feel like talking about, like experiences I've had at the theater, which we're going to talk about today. The first story we're going to talk about is Rian Johnson's new Star Wars trilogy. There's a new rumor out there. Next, we'll be talking about the Han Solo movie getting a returned Star Wars veteran, sort of. Ridley Scott talked about Star Wars. Netflix's Bright sequel loses a key player. The return of the Animaniacs, which is big, exciting news that came out. And also, my experience at the theater tonight. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Rian Johnson's new Star Wars trilogy, the possibility of it beginning to film this year. Now, this is a rumor, and take it with a big old fat grain of salt. There's news out there from a quote-unquote source, because we can always believe sources, right? The first movie is supposed to begin shooting in June in Scotland, according to the source. Other than what little bit we've heard that Rian Johnson has said it's not going to be, we haven't really heard much about what the new trilogy is going to be, because honestly, I don't think he knows what he's going to be doing yet. But anyway, like I said, take this rumor with a big grain of salt. This is what the source had to say. As is now customary with any Star Wars production, the movie is shrouded in secrecy, but they want to shoot scenes around the Rest and Be Thankful. Now, in Scotland, the Rest and Be Thankful is this thing I'm about to explain to you. It says further filming has been penciled in for elsewhere in the country. The Rest and Be Thankful is a pass between Loch Awe and Loch Long, reaching heights of 860 feet. The new film will also reportedly use other locations in Argyll too. I've never been to Scotland, so I don't really know much about that. What I have to say, though, is this. Rumors are out there, and the fact that Rian Johnson is probably still doing press stuff for The Last Jedi, who knows if he's even had time to think about what his new trilogy is going to be about. So, is this rumor true? Time's going to tell. I mean, I could believe they were shooting in Scotland and stuff like that. I mean, people shoot movies everywhere, right? So, there could be some truth to this, but also it could just be someone saying, oh, hey, by the way, this is what's going to happen. Until we hear more, we don't really know. All we know about the new trilogy is that it's not supposed to be connected to the Skywalker saga, and it's also not supposed to be Knights of the Old Republic. Now, I have this feeling, part of me has this feeling that it may still kind of be about the Knights of the Old Republic. I know that Disney kind of, flatlined a lot of the extended universe stuff whenever they bought it up, and then they kind of made their own history. He may not be doing the Knights of the Old Republic, the KOTOR that, games that people, know and love, but just like Rebels did and bringing in stuff like Thrawn, I could see him maybe doing a form of Knights of the Old Republic, kind of writing a new history for the Star Wars saga, being that Disney kind of, they call that stuff legends or whatever, even though some of the legends involved characters that you know and love, and that whole legends thing didn't make sense to me when it come to characters like Luke Skywalker and stuff, when the stuff apparently didn't happen, but it's legends. I guess people tell stories and tall tales and things, so I guess maybe that's what they were going for. But I could see him doing a form of Knights of the Old Republic, or I could see him doing two other things. The first one, it's probably the more likely version, but I could see him doing something about the Sith. I don't know if I'd want to see that. I mean, it would be neat. I'm interested. I don't know if I want to see 3 movies about it. I mean, we kind of already got the building up of a Sith Lord with Darth Vader in the prequels, and Lord help us, we had to sit through those. But, I mean, could he do something really cool with it? Sure. I mean, I would definitely be interested in seeing it. Don't get me wrong. But what I think I'd like to see him do Okay, those of you that know, if you know anything of Rian Johnson's work other than The Last Jedi, it's going to be the movie Looper. Now, I'm not saying I want to see time travel introduced in the Star Wars universe. Lord help us, the universe is big enough, there's enough stories. What I'm saying is, I think I would like to see Rian Johnson handle something involving bounty hunters or gangsters or something like that, because think about that. He did Looper, which is a really cool crime story. I mean, yeah, there's a whole time travel element, but there's a whole setup for assassins and the criminal empire and everything, and the Rainmaker and all that stuff. I think it would be really cool to let him handle like bounty hunter stories, or you know just the criminal empire before. I mean, I don't really want to see prequels, to be honest. I'd like to see him handle something that's happening in the Outer Rims at the same time as what's going on in the Force Awakens and the new trilogy. But chances are he's going to be doing something of a prequel. And if he stays away from the stuff we know and gives us something new, I'm cool with that. But really, there hasn't been any news come out, and honestly, this story, I don't think there's a lot of weight to it. I mean, I'd be happy to be wrong if some new stuff comes out, or if he comes out and addresses it. But the fact that he hasn't come out and addressed it as of this recording, and it's gotten some pretty big, a pretty big push on all the entertainment sites, and he hasn't really said anything about it. So he's either trying to keep a secret, or it just has no weight behind it. The next story I want to talk about, the Han Solo movie scores big, literally. Returning to the Star Wars universe is John Williams. He is going to be returning to yet again write a theme for Star Wars, this time for Solo, with John Powell creating the movie score. So from what it sounds like, Williams is just creating one theme, which is probably going to be the main theme, and then John Powell will be creating the rest of the movie score. Williams had this to say about the project, and I quote, "The present plan is that I'm writing a theme for Han Solo, and John Powell is going to write the score, which he'll do brilliantly. His assignment is something I'm very happy about. What I will do is offer this to John and to Ron Howard, and if all parties are happy with it, then I'll be happy." I got to say this. It's probably a smart move on Disney's part to at least bring John Williams in for at least a theme. I mean, I know he's probably not going to do the whole thing. He wasn't going to do the whole thing. He'll probably end up doing episode 9, I'm sure. I mean, there's probably no way he doesn't. I don't know if people will be okay with that. I mean, when it's as iconic, when he's made such iconic themes, he's gonna be the guy they go to. One reason I think there's 2 reasons why I think it's smart that they're bringing him back. The first one is that some fans weren't too happy with Rogue One when John Williams didn't do the score. I mean, think about it. Of all the movies, that's the one movie he didn't do the score for. And granted, I think they used a little bit of, little bits and pieces of his original Star Wars themes and stuff like that in Rogue One, but not like full blast score. And, they didn't even use the crawl or anything for Rogue One. So, it's probably smart that they're, using him to say, look, fans, we're bringing you someone you love. So don't worry. Because the second reason is production for Solo hasn't exactly been the smoothest. So bringing him in might be a way to extend that olive branch to the fans. You bring in an iconic musical heavyweight like John Williams, who practically, created the entire mood of Star Wars with his music. It could be kind of a sign of good faith that they're trying to say, look, we know this movie's had problems. We dumped the directors and all that, but we're bringing back John Williams, someone you love. When it comes to Powell, some of the scores that he has done includes Face Off, Shrek, all 4 of the Bourne films, and Ferdinand, to name a few. So, I mean, I can't really remember not liking the music in those movies, so or the score of those movies. So I mean, we'll see what he can come up with. I didn't have a problem with the Rogue One score. I thought it fit the universe just fine. So we'll see what this guy can come up with. I'm still a little iffy on the Star Wars movie, so or the Solo movie anyway. So we'll see what they can what they've been able to salvage from the mess that we've heard that it has become, or at least was. The next story I want to talk about is Ridley Scott talks Star Wars this week. In an interview, Ridley Scott was asked if he'd been offered a Star Wars movie, and his reply was, quote, no, I'm too dangerous for that. When asked to elaborate, he continued, and I quote, because I know what I'm doing. I think they like to be in control. He's talking about Disney, and I like to be in control myself. When you get a guy who's done a low-budget movie and you suddenly give him $180 million, it makes no sense whatsoever. It's effing stupid. You know what reshoots cost? Millions and millions. You can get me for my fee, which is heavy, but I'll be under budget and on time. This is where experience does matter. It's as simple as that. It can make you dull as dishwater, but if you're really experienced and you know what you're doing, it's effing essential. Grow into it little by little. Start low budget, get a little bit bigger. Maybe after 20 million, you can go for 80 million. But don't suddenly go to 160 million. His argument, I don't know if it holds a lot of weight. I'm giving it a 50-50 chance of holding weight, because think about it. Disney has been kind of iffy on giving some directors too much control, but then again, they've been open to other directors and pretty much given them complete control. I mean, think about this. Taika Waititi had a lot of freedom on Thor Ragnarok, and you could tell that was a Taika Waititi movie. And it was very successful. But then again, in the case of Solo, Lord and Miller butted heads with Disney, and then they were ultimately fired from the project. Granted, I was hearing that the Solo movie was looking like Ace Ventura, which, I'm all for comedy in Star Wars, but you can only go so far, especially with a character or characters like Han Solo, Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian, and whoever else they fit in the movie. I'm guessing we're probably going to get a Jabba. Who knows what all we're going to get. I'd say that they were being more protective of the Star Wars projects maybe, but I think I'd be wrong there, because they gave Rian Johnson a lot of freedom with The Last Jedi. A lot of the stuff in that movie was not like Disney-fied, if you will. So it's kind of hard to tell, if Ridley Scott's argument holds any weight. Would I like to see Ridley Scott do a Star Wars movie? Maybe one. I don't think I'd want to see him handle one of the main things, like one of the main Skywalker storyline or whatever. I don't think I'd want to see that. If you want, I'd like to give him like one of the Star Wars stories, the off stories that doesn't like really have too much to do with the original Skywalker plot or anything. I think giving him something like that would be kind of cool. And honestly, as much as the stuff that Rian Johnson did, I liked in The Last Jedi, there were some things that I kind of wish he wasn't the one that did it. Granted, he gave us a lot of cool stuff, and I'm happy he did do it. But then there was also some other stuff, but it makes me wonder if that other stuff might have been the studios. Because, I mean, that Casino Planet, I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, Johnson was given a lot of freedom. So, I don't know. If Ridley Scott ever did Star Wars, he's talking, here's a funny thing, and I don't have the story in front of me, but I saw this today after I wrote my notes. He's talking about not wanting to work with Disney, but then all of a sudden he's in talks to work with Disney on like some Merlin project. So I think that's kind of funny that he kind of shot off his mouth a little bit, and then all of a sudden he's talking to Disney. I could totally see him taking the money and working with Disney. He may not do a Star Wars, but hey, if you want to give him like something else, that's, I'd like to see him do it. And don't get me wrong, I like a lot of his stuff. Then again, there's some stuff I don't like. I mean, for every Martian, there's a Prometheus, So, I don't know if I think I'd like to see him do Star Wars. I really would, but it would have to be like a very off type specific project and not like main storyline stuff. The next story I want to talk about is Netflix's Bright sequel. It's about to lose writer Max Landis. I read a story somewhere that Netflix bought the script from Landis from, I think it was between $2 and $4 million. I don't have the notes in front of me, so I apologize. And if you don't know who Max Landis is, he's the person that wrote movies like American Ultra. And also, if you follow him on YouTube, he has a pretty interesting channel. I mean, some of the stuff he does is just him, sitting in front of his camera phone and, just chatting away. But he did some cool videos. Like one was called The Slap. That's pretty interesting and funny. And the best one on there, it's called Wrestling Isn't Wrestling. He talks about how wrestling isn't wrestling. It's all these other things and ideas and different kinds of stories and everything. And he follows the career of one Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the Game, King of Kings, whatever you want to call him at the time. And it's just a real fun watch. It's like 20-some minutes long. He uses a lot of ridiculous reenactments that shows a bunch of other wrestlers and stuff. So it's really interesting to watch. So even if you're not a wrestling fan, check it out because it's just kind of funny. It makes fun of wrestling and praises wrestling all at the same time. But according to The Hollywood Reporter, David Ayer will take on the writing duties as well as return to direct the sequel to Bright. It's unknown why Landis left. I couldn't find anything on it, but there's two reasons people are speculating why he left the project or was told to leave, because that's not even confirmed yet. It could be related to the bad reviews the movie received. I think this might be the less likely issue because, I mean, it got a lot of views. I could see them maybe wanting to mix it up, but I don't think, they liked the script when they bought it, and they bought it for a lot of money. So I don't see that being the reason. Maybe it is, and maybe we'll find out it is. But and this is something I didn't know. The second reason is that Landis, right before the movie came out, was accused of sexual assault and harassment allegations. I didn't know about this stuff, but I could see them saying to him, like kind of making a deal with him, saying, look, we know you were going to write this for us, but the heat's on you right now. So we could say, look, we'll take it from here. You can just go and you should just bow out. I could see that being the case. Even, I'm not saying he did anything because I know nothing about the allegations. I've only read one story about it, but apparently they're out there. And like I said, I didn't know about them, but I could see that being the case because it seems whether or not someone has done something or been proved to have done something, they're kind of pushing them out, better safe than sorry kind of thing. So I don't know if that's the case, but I think that probably would be the case. But despite the negative reviews, over 11 million people watched Bright the weekend it came out. I kind of liked the movie. I didn't think it was great, but I like the ideas. I think there's some cool ideas out there. They've got some cool promo stuff out there right now explaining the history, which is something they probably should have put in the movie. But it talks about the history of magic and the Dark Lord and everything. It's a couple minute video, 2-3 minute video. I'll put a link to that in the description, so you guys can take a look at it. Plus, they're doing some like orc audition thing. I haven't watched it yet, but they're really going all in. They're taking the Rotten Tomatoes controversy and just kind of challenging it. I kind of like that because I know Rotten Tomatoes is like the quote unquote source of where people get their ideas, of what we should think about movies. But you know what? There's a lot of people on this world, and there's not even, I don't even think 200 and some critics that do Rotten Tomatoes. You know, I'm a critic, but I think everyone's a critic. You know, I just talk about this stuff because I have fun talking about it, not because I think my opinion is better than everybody else's. And I'm not saying all critics are like that, but, you know, we all know there are some. Anyway, yeah, despite the negative reviews, people watched it. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next one. Will Smith and Joel Edgerton are expected to return, as well as Air. I'm sure there's a few other people that were in there that are probably coming back too. We definitely know some A because they got their butts handed to them in the first movie, but I won't spoil it for those that haven't seen it. The next story I want to talk about is the return of the Animaniacs. And I don't have my notes on this. I just have the story in front of me here on the internet, so bear with me. But they're not just bringing back the 90s cartoon. They're doing a reboot, which that word kind of scares me a little bit. Hulu is bringing back Animaniacs along with Warner Brothers Animation and Amblin Television. Steven Spielberg is back again as executive producer. I love how in this article they call it a family-friendly animated show. I let my kids watch it, but boy, there's some jokes in that show I don't want to explain to them. You know, anyone remember we're looking for fingerprints joke? I wasn't going to explain that one to my kids. I mean, and of course that show was full of that stuff. I know my youngest son got a kick out of the I have to go to the bathroom episode that Wacko was running all over town needing a pee. Hulu has said they're pretty excited to be working with everybody, and what's cool is in this deal they're not just bringing this new program, and I should have known something was going to happen because Animaniacs was on Netflix and they disappeared, and I knew something had to be up. And sure enough, when they brought out the news, along with the new show, they're going to be having the original Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Pinky Elmira and the Brain, which is a show that hardly anyone watched, and the entire Tiny Toon Adventure catalog. So yeah, this deal has had to be working on this for a while. As of right now, I'm kicking myself for not having Hulu. I did the free trial and I got sick of the way it was set up, so I dumped it. Looks like I'm gonna have to be looking into it again, as I love me some Animaniacs. So I'm a little worried about the whole reboot thing, but also there's no word if the original voice cast and everything is back. I got a feeling they will be, but you never know. I mean, I don't know, especially on the older shows, who's all still available. So hopefully, they don't do something like this. This is one of those niche shows that you can't replace the originals, I don't think. I mean, I know shows like DuckTales and stuff have done it, and maybe you can do it, but I don't know. When it comes to especially the Warner Brothers and their sister Dot, you almost need those voices, and especially like Pinky and the Brain. There's some other voices you might be able to get away with, but I have a feeling that they're going to try to get as many originals as they can. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this news, and like I said, I think I'm going to have to look into getting Hulu again. Now, on to my main story of the evening. I wasn't going to do this, but see, I recorded this program earlier, and I wasn't happy with it. Things didn't flow well. I did some stories I didn't like. And then, of course, after I recorded, the Animaniacs news come out, and it's like, man, I want to talk about that. And then I go to the movies. Now, surprise, surprise, there hardly has been an episode of Get on the Mic where I didn't talk about AMC theaters. Now, this story isn't about AMC theaters, but I was at an AMC theater, so technically, I guess that could count. So no, it had nothing to do with AMC. I'm gonna talk about my experience. I went and seen Insidious, the Last Key, or whatever they called it. I did not like that movie. When they took the chapter 4 off is when I got worried. And, or is it called the Final Key, the Last Key, whatever it is. It's terrible, and don't go see it. I like the other Insidious movies. The first 2 I liked a lot. First one's still better than the second one. I forgave them for their little prequel chapter 3 because I thought it was going to go somewhere. And this one's another prequel. That's not what I'm here to talk about today. But if you're considering seeing it, it's not that good. It's about as pointless as any prequel can be. What I want to talk about are stupid people. Look, I'm a nice guy. I try to be cool with everyone. But man, you know what they say. You can't fix stupid. When you go to a theater, I've had this discussion before on this channel, on other videos and stuff. But why do we go to the movies? It's an escape, right? Yeah, it's still kind of my job, to review movies and everything, and I have my radio spot and everything, but I do my videos, but I go to the movies because I like to go to other worlds. I like to hear stories. I like to see them visually. I like to escape the crap that goes on in my life. I'm not saying my life is terrible, but man, I go through some stuff sometimes, and going to the movies just kind of lets me get away from it for a little bit, especially when the movie's good. When the movie's bad, it doesn't help as much, but it's still a nice little detour from life. So, why do you go to the movies? For those of you that go to the movies and are cool about it, you go there to, like I do, you go there just to enjoy a good story, or it's a story you're interested in, or even if you're not a cinephile like me, you go to see whatever the new superhero movie is, or the new horror movie, or whatever you're interested in, you go see it, and you're cool about it, and you go in there and you enjoy it. You have some popcorn and a pop or whatever, or you sneak in whatever. I'm not totally opposed to sneaking in stuff. I wasn't opposed to sneaking in alcohol, which I can't say I've done, but I know people that bring in a flask or whatever. I'm cool with that. Whatever, man. I was cool with that until today. And I'm going to talk about there in a second, but why do we go to the movies? This is escape. Why would you pay the crappy prices that movies cost today? I mean, movie tickets are more expensive now than ever, unless you got Movie Pass. Thank you, Movie Pass. But then, of course, you got the food prices if you want food. Why would you go to the theater to watch a movie, to pay for expensive food, and talk through the damn thing, and text through the damn thing, and check your Facebook page, and, just be stupid throughout the movie? Okay, normal human beings, I can't believe I'm having to talk like this. Normal human beings are courteous. Most people I deal with in theaters most of the time are courteous, but there's always days where you're going to have someone in the theater. There's always a chance, I guess I should say. Boy, was it raining stupidity in the theater tonight. Okay, the first thing, I thought it was going to be cool. I was the first person in the theater. A couple people walk in, they go take their seats. They were cool. They ended up knowing someone else that was being stupid in the theater, but they were cool. Then some more people started to come in. It was a group of 3 people. And I could tell from the way they walked in that they were going to be annoying, and they were. You know, they weren't the worst. We'll get to the worst because it only got worse. You know, here and there they chatted. They weren't the worst. I thought they were going to be the worst, but I can deal with the tiniest bit of chatter, right? Eventually you get tired of it, but, you know, people are people. And, of course, some more people come in. And in the end, it ended up being like 6 or 8 people that knew each other. They come in during the previews. One of them's checking his phone the entire time. The same person that's checking his phone, I couldn't tell if he was tapping his feet or his finger on his armrest. But damn, was it getting annoying. It would just all of a sudden, it would be quiet, and then it'd be... I don't know if you can hear that. And he was doing it through the previews and through parts of the movie. And he was checking his phone. And it was getting annoying. During the preview, someone walked in. It was during the Pacific Rim 2 or Uprising or whatever they're calling it. The sequel that should be Guillermo del Toro, but it's not. And looks like it's way into the future of the other movies. It's just like we're making a cash grab. But anyway, from the other seats over in that group, I hear, "Well, that's not Transformers." You know what? Why do you talk through previews? I can understand. I'm cool. I don't like it, but I'm cool if someone, you know, says their significant other, "Hey, that looks good. That looks good. I wouldn't mind seeing that." I'm fine with that. I try not to do it. I may make a quip if I'm, you know, with someone and something looks dumb or something. I may make a quick little snide remark or something, but I try to keep it quiet. I don't want to disturb people. But when you're just full blast out yelling at a preview, thankfully this guy didn't do too much. He did it a few times thinking he was funny. He was not. I mean, I hate to give him any credit, but he was funnier than the comic relief in the movie. It's not saying much, but he was. He wasn't the worst either. No. The worst was when I think the movie had maybe been on probably a half hour. I mean, the main story was kind of going, you know. They were starting up kind of the main plot and everything, and in walks this couple. This couple. Okay, I don't drink a ton, but I know what certain drinks smell like. I every now and then, and I'm talking like every maybe few months, once like to have like a Crown Royal and Coke, right? I'm quite partial to Crown Royal maple. It tastes like extra syrup in your Coke, pretty much. But I know what whiskey smells like. And boy, when these two people walked in, could I smell the whiskey. I don't know which place they had just come from or if they snuck it in. I really didn't want to look. I was already annoyed at all the other people, and it was just getting worse. They come in, and I mean, they're talking on the way in, laughing, giggling. They're plastered. You could tell they were plastered. I could smell cigarettes, which I think that was from the other people, because I'd smelled that before. You know, I'm fine if people want to smoke, whatever. I don't smoke. But there's a point where you can smell it. You know what I mean? Well, that was someone in the theater tonight. Whatever. You know, I can deal with that. You know, I used to, you know, my grandma used to smoke. I used to work with a lot of smokers. I'm fine with it, right? And I still do work with a lot of smokers, so whatever. That don't bother me. And even the smell of alcohol didn't bother me. It was just the fact that these people were plastered coming into the movie. And, of course, they were chatting throughout the whole movie. And one of my biggest pet peeves is, okay, if you have a theater yourself and you want to put your leg up or something, fine. But when you take your shoes off and put your leg up on the seats in front of you, and of course they had to come sit right behind me, right? Because they were coming in late to the movie. They probably had no idea what was going on. But, you know, they were just there to have them's a good time, I guess. It was just an annoying night at the theater. The funniest thing, though, is, okay, in this movie, there's a scene where a guy's got a gun and someone else knocks him over and then pushes a bookshelf and squashes his head. I'm not kidding. And the sound that it makes when he squashes, I thought he was going to just push the bookshelf on the guy to keep him down. Oh, no, 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 no. He pushes it on the guy's head and it makes this noise. It's hilarious. I can't even explain the noise. It was just like, right? I was the only one in the theater that laughed. I don't know how. The drunk people weren't laughing at this. I don't know how all the other people could not find this funny. But for all the stupid crap that they were laughing at through the entire movie behind me, which I don't even think they were laughing at the movie. I think they were just being stupid. They didn't laugh at this. They definitely weren't paying attention. I don't think anyone in that theater was paying attention, because how could you not find that funny? Like you could take this movie seriously with the stupid comedy relief that they had in it. But it just goes into this whole thing of, why do you go to the theater? I hate being mean, and I hate saying that certain people don't belong in a theater. Everyone should be able to go see a movie, because everyone should be able to escape, right? But if we can't be cool in a theater and let those that are there to escape, then you shouldn't be there. Go home. Go drink at home. Go drink at the bar, right? Go be stupid at home. Go text at home. Go text in your car. Go text at a restaurant. I don't care. Don't bring that crap into the movie theaters. I am sick of it. I am sick and tired of people doing that in theaters. Why do you go? Why do you go? Do you think you're that important? Do you think your life is that important? Do you think people putting likes on your stupid picture or liking your, I don't know Instagram that well, or loving your Instagram photo, or whatever the like system is for that, is all that important that you have to come to the movie theater and share it with everybody? Do you have to annoy people? Do you know you're annoying people? Or do you think you're that important? When you go in a theater, look, if you're there by yourself or just with your buddy or whatever, I don't care. I really don't. But if there's somebody else in the theater, have a little effing respect for their experience, because they're there to escape. Sure, there's other people acting stupid like you, but that doesn't mean they're right either. Have a little respect. Go away. If you get a text or something, or are expecting a text, and you go out of the theater to take care of it, I'm cool with that. You know, I can understand accidentally leaving your phone on, or you feeling, you know, you're like, oh crap, I got to take this, and you go out of the theater. Cool. I'm cool with that. You know, I'm not going to hate on you for that. But if you're checking your Instagram, checking your Facebook, checking your Twitters, whatever, checking your texts. I've had people take phone calls in the theater, in the middle of the movie. Oh, hey, yeah, man, I'm at the movie. What you need? Idiots. Freaking idiots. Like I said, I want to be cool, man. I really do. You know how many things I said to these people in this theater tonight? Nothing. I said nothing. First of all, I can't leave a movie to go tattletale on people. I don't want to tell on people. I'm not in elementary school. I mean, you guys are acting like you are. I'm not a little kid. I just want to enjoy the movie. I want to do my job. I want to enjoy the movie. I want to skate for a little bit, and I want to go home. The time for talking's after the movie. The time for texting's after the movie. Hell, the time for drinking. Unless you're at home, which is fine. It's your home. You can do whatever you want. If you want to, you know what? Get drunk at your house and turn on Netflix and have a good time. I'm all cool with that. Don't come to the theater if you're going to be an idiot. Don't come to the theater if you're going to ruin everyone else's experience. If you think you're that important, don't come to the theater. Me, I like to respect everyone at the theater and give them I want people to be able to watch the movie. I want to respect everybody. I want to have a good time with everybody. There's a difference between having a good time at a movie, laughing at a movie, especially if the movie's bad. There's a difference between that and just being a dick in the theater. And I experienced a lot of that tonight, and I had to talk about it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for letting me vent. Now that I've done my venting, I want to do a new thing here at the end of the show. It's called Quick Hits, where I just kind of find a few more stories that I couldn't really talk a lot about, and I just want to make some quick comments about them. The first one, George Lucas. Georgie's back in the news. Hi, Georgie. George Lucas is still trying to defend the position that Greedo shot first. You know, back in the day, Georgie, your opinion mattered because they were your movies, but you sold your opinion for over $4 billion, so you don't have an opinion anymore. So as much as I respect you for creating Star Wars, shut up. You don't have an opinion anymore. Whatever Disney says goes. And they haven't really addressed it. I think they're just letting the fans have what they want because nobody besides you, George, wanted Greedo to shoot first. I imagine when you brought that up in the meetings about the special editions, you brought that up and people either rolled their eyes, tried not to laugh. You know, of course they couldn't tell you boo to your face because you'd fire them because you're George Lucas. But yeah, you have no opinion anymore. I respect you, but you don't have a say anymore. A cartoon mouse has more of a say than you do. Next one, Game of Thrones, Season 8. Has been confirmed that it's probably not going to air until sometime. They don't know when. They didn't say when. It's not going to air until 2019. That's fine. Whatever. I can wait. There's other shows that are going to be on. Saul will be coming back. I can hate watch The Walking Dead. Don't get me started on that show. Maybe I'll talk about that show whenever it's done, whenever they finally cancel it, like they should have done about 3 seasons ago. Don't get me wrong. I love Jeffrey D. Morgan as Negan, and they're even misusing him right now. But Game of Thrones, Season 8, not till 2019. That's fine, but I'm not going to wait to drink my Game of Thrones themed beers this time around. Winter is here, and Fire and Blood will not drink themselves. I've been waiting too long, especially for Fire and Blood to be re-released. Sorry, can't wait till the season airs. Lastly, Vincent D'Onofrio has stated that fan excitement for him playing Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin, on the Netflix Daredevil TV show gets him excited to play the part again. That's cool because that in turn gets me excited for his return. And if you think about it, my excitement, being a fan of the show, gets him excited for the part, which makes him do better, which gets me excited, which gets him excited, which gets me excited. A never-ending circle of excitement is going to give us yet another phenomenal performance from him as Wilson Fisk. I didn't think they could top that Daredevil season, and then he showed up for that little bit in Daredevil season 2. The scenes with the Punisher, so good. I can't wait for him to come back. He is by far the most compelling villain in all the MCU, and I'm talking the movies too, because they had time to flesh him out. They had time to build him up, and he's still being built. They're taking their time. He's not the Kingpin yet, but he's getting there. Eventually be wearing them white suits. What was he wearing? Gray at the end of the first season of Daredevil. He wasn't wearing black anymore. And all of a sudden he's going to be... I can't wait to see him in that white suit with that diamond-topped cane. It's going to be so good. Well, that's going to be all for this week for Get on the Mic. A couple more things I want to talk about. A buddy of mine and I have started a new podcast. Right now it's just a YouTube podcast, but that may be changing soon. If that does change, I will let you guys know about it. Bill Heisenerd Fields and I have been friends for about 15 years, and we've started this new YouTube podcast called Geek Be Cubed. That's Geek space B space Cubed, Cubed, or the GB3 podcast. We put up our first episode on this new channel. Give it a listen. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the channel. It's going to be a bi-weekly podcast. The first podcast, the main topic is the possibility of nostalgia overload. Also, we both talked about a few of the big stories from 2017. He talked about the problems that YouTube is having with monetization and things like that. I talked about the Oscars Best Picture debacle and a little bit of the politics between, why I don't like the Oscars. Plus, I also talked about Me Too. Bill and I, I will admit we've got a lot of learning to do. We're still, me and him, you get us together, we can talk for days. You get us on Skype recording, there's still a lot to learn on how things flow and everything. But honestly, I thought we did pretty well for our first time. We had a lot of fun doing it. And like I said, we're going to try to do it every other week. Shows will probably drop either Wednesdays or Thursday, depending on when we can record and when I can edit and things like that. Like I said, if you get a chance to listen, give it a listen. If you like what you hear, subscribe to the channel. We'd much appreciate it. Also, when it comes to this program, I'm working on some things where I may be putting this on other forms other than YouTube, like for iTunes and things like that. I'm working on some things. I'm talking with some people. I'm not sure which direction I'm going yet, but I think I know where I'm going to go. I just want to make sure everything's right for me and them and everything else. But, I've stated before that, I'm tired of trying to do this all on my own. And though I've done little projects here and there with other people, I want to make it a more permanent thing. As much as I like doing things on my own, I can only do so much, and having help and having friends is not a bad thing. Being able to work with my buddy Bill the other day felt really good because we're just two dudes that, like similar things, and we like to talk about things and like to talk about geek stuff, and we had a good time doing it. And it just kind of invigorated me a little bit, and I like the idea of working with other people just because, I feel like the more of us that work together, the more successful we can be. And I'm not talking just from a money sense. I'm just talking about getting our message out there and having fun. Because, YouTube should be fun. I've had this discussion before. It shouldn't be about drama, man. It should just be about fun. And what I'm trying to do, talking with these other people and everything. And like I said, when I have more information, I'll let you know. But talking with these other people is just, for me, I want it to be a natural progression of just more ways to have fun doing the stuff that I love doing. That's going to be all for this week for Get on the Mic. Thank you so much for listening to the stories that I found and the rants that I needed to get out. As I've always mentioned, I have a great fun time doing this. Just sitting in front of this microphone and yapping. It's fun for me, and I hope you guys enjoy the program. Let me know what you think about it. And until next time, I'm Gino Reynolds from The Real Gino. Peace.